Kevin was going to direct this picture originally. He had written the script for himself to direct, but he ended up going back to the first script he had written, which was more of a character piece, to be his first directing job. So I knew that I wouldn't have him on the set while I was filming this because he would be directing his own movie at the very same time. So we worked really hard together for about 2 months to do all the work that he would be normally doing on the set, and so that he could just go off and concentrate on his directorial debut. And I mean, he's so prolific and so fast and so creative, which is why I wanted to work from him and learn from him. I'd been wanting to work with him since I'd read Scary Movie, script that he'd written that became Scream later on. And he just was really on top of things. He loved the same genres that I did, and he was just really clever and great dialogue and characters. And it just one of those, writes the scripts that you can just read in one sitting and that you know that you want to go see or make. I think Kevin's really successful in his films because he really writes from the heart. He really writes from his experiences. As an actor, he's an actor who turned writer, very much like Quentin is. And the similarities are that they really draw upon experiences they have to put reality into their characters. And it's not like he goes and studies the high schools to see what people talk like, act like. They're very universal themes that he deals with, very universal, that everyone has gone through at one time or another. And he remembers them so well and remembers the emotion and captures that. I think that's why teens respond to it, because they see a lot of the stuff that's out there that doesn't hit the nerve. He's able to do it because he really draws upon real experiences, and all his stuff has always been very autobiographical in a lot of ways. Kevin's scripts, and this one in particular, is just full of great characters, and so many characters. I never thought I could juggle that many characters. I couldn't believe how many speaking parts there were that I had to go cast for. It took forever. It took longer to cast than it took to shoot. And I was doing it for just months because it's a very ensemble group casting that you're doing. As soon as you cast one person, that changes your mind about who you want for the other parts, because they all kind of got to complement each other and work together. Not just for the students, but for the teachers as well. I guess that for me the movie is about just the alienation and conformity and individuality that goes on during a real high school experience. I mean, the best sci-fi movies have an element of reality to them before throwing in the idea of that becomes the seed of the sci-fi idea. And what this had was just, it felt like a real high school to me. Just not trusting the adults, not knowing who you were, not knowing who your friends were. And everyone's changing constantly. And you don't know in this movie if it's real change or if it's brought on because of some alien seed that's starting to take over. So it's sort of an alien invasion type picture set in high school, which I always thought was a really great idea, and couldn't figure out why anyone hadn't done it before yet, because it's such a perfect place for one of those Are You kind of movies, because you just don't know from one day to the next who to trust, or even to trust yourself, because you're changing. And it was just ripe for this type of story. I think I would call it sci-fi because of the element of reality that it had tied together with a sci-fi element. I mean, it's a sci-fi picture, but at the end of the movie, you feel like you just went through a real high school experience, because that's what high school felt like, you know, including the aliens. I mean, I think a lot of people feel like they're aliens themselves going through school. Just because, not necessarily even because of the high school, just because of that time in your life when, you know, you feel more like an individual, yet you're still stuck to a regime that someone has dictated for you. You got to go to school from here to there, and you got to be home before midnight, and that's just an internal clash and an external that goes on. And I think that's why people can respond to it. I'm excited about the movie opening. It opens Christmas Day. I didn't procrastinate. You know, you always feel like you're still in high school, because I used to make movies instead of term papers in high school, and I would get graded on them. And it's kind of the same thing. I just turned in my movie project. It opens the 25th. I'll wait for my report card from all the teachers. You know, they'll say, you know, A-, B+, C-, thumbs down, thumbs up. You know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like you're forever a student in this life. So I can't wait to see what I get on my report card.
When I was watching the movie for the first time, I couldn't believe how the energy at which he approached this. And it's much different from a lot of his other stuff. I mean, true, it's fast, the camera's moving, a lot of the stuff that he's known for, but in addition to that, he gave the film a restlessness. You always feel like it's moving in an unnerving way, which is exactly the characters that I created. So in that situation, and in that way, I mean, he truly understood what I was trying to do with the voice of these kids, and he sort of visually transposed that, which I thought was just brilliant. I mean, I'm in constant awe of this man. And so I think particularly when you're telling a scary story in this day and age, you can't tell a story in 1998, 99, and not comment on it in a humorous fashion, because that's what would happen. We live in a very cynical time, and unless you sort of have that cynical approach to it, and also it's hard to get an audience to believe it unless you let them laugh at it, because trying to get someone to believe in something that they've seen 100 times before is very, very hard unless you give them ability to go, wink, wink, we're laughing at it because we know, you know, this is a movie, we know this, we're making fun of this, we know this situation is ironic, and then maybe if you can sort of fool them with enough of the humor, you can build to a place that could actually scare them again. So that's sort of always, I think humor is so important, as long as it's true humor and situational humor and character humor and not necessarily just campy derivative humor. Yes, very much so. I think this is a sci-fi thriller. It's not really in the horror vein at all. It's not about a man going around slashing people up with a knife. It truly is, you know, it's in the science fiction world. It deals very much with the same themes that Invasion of the Body Snatchers did years ago. It's very in the vein of those classic 50s science fiction movies where you know, you're dealing with individuality and conformity and identity. And I think that's what makes it so scary, because those to me were the scariest science fiction films. Well, The Faculty is about a group of students who discover something is amiss at their high school. And at first they think, you know, it's just an oddness or something just, you know, not quite right about their normal day-to-day functioning at high school. And then they slowly sort of uncover some evil doings at the school and realize that something has happened to the faculty, something very deadly, and it's spreading and it's traveling and they have to overcome it before they become it.
I knew that it would be more stylized. I knew that the work wouldn't be like a Wes Craven directing it, which is great. I mean, that style's wonderful, but it had been done so much, you know, and I really wanted this type of movie to be taken a different way, and I knew that he wanted that when I met him. We started talking, and his interpretation of the film was beautiful. It was wonderful, and we started talking about, you know, about how the movie was sort of basically about the alienation of children, of high school kids, you know, and how he really wanted to focus on that. And because, you know, he was upset that most movies don't portray high school how it really is. It's really freaky and really, you know, scary for kids to go through. It's a very frightening and horrifying experience, you know. It's the most awkward stage of your life when you're in high school. You have to deal with so many, you know, daily demons, and he really wanted to show that. So that's sort of what our movie, that kind of theme is set over the story that happens in our high school. And that really psyched me when I started talking to him about that. He writes characters very well. I mean, all the characters were really developed. My character, Casey, is like, you know, the school geek, the kid that gets picked on, is the punching bag, you know. And there's everybody that can relate to that, you know. Everybody's been in that position, or maybe not, but there's definitely that person out there that can relate. You know, there's the really cool guy, Zeke. People can relate to that, you know. They're the sort of stereotypical characters, but they're expounded upon, you know, and we as actors take upon ourselves to sort of mix around with it. But yeah, he writes characters very well, and that's what's so cool about the movie, is it's a great ensemble piece. You know, the characters are really interesting. I think more than anything, it was more exciting for me to take the role because of that, because it wasn't really something I'd ever played. And I normally like to play things that I haven't, you know, done before, basically to just discover another side of myself. And this character's fun. He's cool. He's a wimp and he's a wuss, and I have to take that in consideration every scene that I do. And that's fun. That's cool. It's neat because he makes an arc. He changes, you know. By the end of the movie, he starts taking things into his own hands, you know, and really becomes, you know, stronger and becomes a man by the end. So it was fun.
I would describe it as a thriller, and I think one of the great aspects of it was I was just watching another movie last night, and I kind of realized that human beings are much more scary than any kind of alien or animal, or and I think the great part of this movie is that there is so much horror involved, or yeah, pretty much horror within like just the human beings and kind of people transforming, and seeing just being scared of the acting more than anything else. I think that's what's really appealing about this movie. It's pretty unbelievable to work with him, unlike my first movie. I was really happy when I knew that he took on the role of Casey. He's really generous. He doesn't have an ego, as some people might think of a big star as he is. I just love reacting off of him. He's so great in this role. Eclectic, because I think the whole cast is different, and just the fact that Williamson and Rodriguez are working together, that's very different mix, and it works really well. Innovative and eclectic, innovative, and fun. Because it's just been a lot of fun, and it's really entertaining movie, and I'm really psyched to see it.
It's an unbelievable script. It's Kevin Williamson, of course, and I knew Robert was directing it, so it was kind of like that. I had all these expectations in my mind, and when I got the script, I was so pleased and excited that this was going to be done, you know, just because it was an ensemble piece, and it was like kind of like The Screams, but not, you know, grittier, and Robert Rodriguez, you know, so I thought that would add some sense of style, you know, unbelievable sense of style to it. And the script itself, I was very pleased with the character in particular. It's so much easier to work on this set. It's so relaxed because of him, you know. I mean, it starts up there and trickles down, and we all get the feeling that we're making something worthwhile, you know. It's really great. It's a Robert Rodriguez film. You can't put it any other way. It doesn't matter what he does, it's still a Robert Rodriguez film because it's got his style. I knew that on Mariachi he had done all his camera work, and I thought that was really cool. And since it was made, you know, mythically for $7,000 or whatever.
Tráilers. Visita mi canal.
I didn't know that he still did it. You know, I thought maybe he'd be sitting back smoking a cigar or something, watching everybody else do the work. But no, he's in there. He's really adept. You know, I mean, he's in charge of it all.
He's got all of this clout, and everybody slapping him on the back and congratulating him for doing, you know, such great things with the football team. But it sort of dawns on him at the beginning of our story here that this is not him, and this isn't what he wants anymore. He's completely discontent with all of this, and he decides that he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, and he leaves the team. So it's a big, you know, it's a big moment for him to leave what all he knows is football and sports, and he decides that he doesn't want to be a part of that, and he wants to focus on something that he's not so good at, which happens to be academics and school and stuff like that. He's amazing. I've had this discussion before hundreds and hundreds of times. He's so inspiring. You know, I've always wanted to make my own film someday, and after watching him and how much he really loves what he does and dealing with all of the people that work in films just makes me really want to do it even more. Kevin Williamson is so good. He writes the characters that we all knew or can identify with. We all know or can identify with, and that's why the kids like him so much. When we first came here, the cast wasn't fully assembled, but But as it got closer and closer to the shooting, they would put the new pictures of the new characters up, and every day we would come in and we would look and see who the new person was. And one day you see Salma Hayek's up there, and we're like, yes. And you see Famke up there, and then Jon Stewart and Robert Patrick and all these people. What an eclectic cast. Just B.B. Newworth is so good. I have worked mostly with Robert Patrick, who is really good at this character. He plays the coach.
It is hard because it doesn't really fit into, I mean, people say Scream-esque, and that kind of bothers me because it's not. I mean, it's obviously written by the same person, but it's so different from that. Because it's more science fiction than horror to me, which makes it more realistic, which I like. And because to me, the thought of aliens is far more, or whatever it is, whatever the monster is far more palpable than serial killers and vampires and stuff like that. Although he made vampires palpable for me, so there you go. I'm sure he'll make this. It's just really scary, and about people overcoming their fears, like individuals overcoming their fears. Put in this situation, what do you do? And this is what we did. He perceives them as cool kids, which is how they want to be perceived, you know, funny, intelligent beings, individuals, which they are. So it's nice to have that respect.
I liked it. I really dug it. You know, I was looking forward to it, and you know, I mean, it's actually my first time ever, you know, being, you know, in this type of environment. So I was really just looking forward to, you know, working with him. And then after after I met him, I really saw how hard he worked, and I noticed that we had something in common. I've never seen anything like this, you know, as far as the camera tricks, the effects that they use and stuff like that, you know. I mean, it's fun seeing it all put together because you really, you know, gain another respect for it. And so, I mean, the same thing in what I do, you know, but now I see what it's like to build a movie. I picked up something from each and every person that I dealt with, like different attitude, the way that they mix, and, you know, mingle with the script as far as, you know, giving an attitude here, not giving an attitude there, changing character, making it build. You know, that's just stuff that you learn as an actor because, I mean, you know, you got to grow. You know what I mean? Peculiar. I would say that the movie is intriguing. I would say that the movie is mysterious. I would say that this movie is a one of a kind and that you will enjoy what you see because we put our all into it. So check it out.
Both, yeah, very much. I love Scream. I love Scream 2. And I really love the bad guy character he came up with for I Know What You Did Last Summer, the fisherman, played by Muse Watson, who is a fantastic actor I've worked with twice. And so I was a fan of Kevin and also of Robert and, you know, Desperado and Dusk Till Dawn. So I was very excited about working with both of them. Very much so. He's just one of two directors I've worked with that edits, you know, as he's going. He's an editor, so he's, you know, he doesn't shoot anything that's going to be, you know, something that you really like that he's going to eventually have to cut. So there's like a no waste factor there. So that's pretty neat because I'll say, hey man, what if I do this? And he'll go, nah, I don't need it, you know, because I'll be on this by the time we do that. But I think that's really, really cool. And it's just neat to know that, you know, you're doing your thing in front of the camera and the director's right on the other side of the lens. So.
Well, I would say that it's a science fiction thriller. It's sort of like a horror movie, I guess. Maybe it is a new genre of, you know, of a mixture of all these thriller and science fiction and also a little of an adventure. And just a little bit, if you stop to think about it, a psychodrama.
I play a school teacher, very prissy, prim, timid lady who goes through transformation.
Tus tráilers. Visita mi canal.
Part of my transformation. And I think it gives all of us, I think, a chance to do something a little bit unusual. Well, you know, when I sat in this little room with him the first day I met him, he said, well, you know, I do everything. And he does it very well. An inventive, imaginative thriller, quite tongue-in-cheek at times, with lots of surprises that will really get you and also make you laugh.
It reminds you to a certain extent, but you know, I come from the Breakfast Club generation, so I'm slightly off base in terms of how cool these kids are. Like there's a certain sophistication that even with the cast, when I meet the cast, you know, I like to think, hey, I was on MTV. I know what the kids are thinking. I know what it's about. The beat of the street, for God's sakes. I've heard of snowboarding. But then you get out here and you realize, oh, I'm an old man. I might as well have asthma, you know? It's just it's a whole new world. Oh yeah, no, I'd known Robert for a while. I'd interviewed him on a show called Later, and where I was one of the, I was actually, it's kind of an honor, I was the 517th guest host, and they threw a little party for me, a little cake. Yeah, and I loved El Mariachi and Desperado and Dust Till Dawn, you know, those kinds of movies. What's amazing about Robert is he edits as he's shooting. He's already cut trailers for the movie and all sorts of, he cut a trailer together and then took the voiceover from Phantasm. So he's got this great trailer and then the voiceover of, if this movie doesn't scare you, you're already dead. You know, and it makes the whole thing really seem exciting. But he's great. He's a rare guy, someone you can trust. And
he's very good. He's improvising a lot. I was surprised to see Robert let him do whatever he wanted with the text and changing it completely every single take. And let me tell you something, he must be really good. I mean, he did great today, but he must be really good for Robert to let him get away with as much as he got away. And he was entertaining us all, you know, even he was laughing behind the camera.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a picture wrap and a huge thank you to Mr. Robert Patrick. I love it. I can't either, man. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Goodie bag. All right. Yeah, a few little things in there for you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The dark side of the game.
Oh, yeah, baby. Written by Coach Dick Willis. Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it. So carry on the good fight. I'll let you go. Thanks for letting me swim. Sure, man.
All right, guys. We're on a deal, guys. We're on a night work, guys. We're on a night work, folks. Action. One. Good? Cut it.
Plan C.
And action. Action. Action, Elwood.
Piss wad, you're excuse me. Hey, leave him alone. You know, Stan, what's up, baby? Tomorrow night, right?
Okay, that'll be the cut.
Action.
It's a parasite. Attaches itself to a host and then it controls it.
No, what is it? Thank you, sir. May I have another salt? It's happening in the moment.
I'll put one cake with it, man. Got to.
So you're already teaching your math, right? All over him.
That's when it first comes out.
Yeah.
Stand, because he looks down at you. So just like,
Y tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
Okay.
when he comes back, it should be after your line that you go all the way back.
For this shit's alright.
You can still be forward. Back and forward. When he's got the gun on, your head should be down. Bring the gun over to his head. Thanks from your head should be down to your side.
Okay. So
This shit's pretty good. Like that, and then you can blow it back.
now, do I ever notice him with the gun?
Yeah,
I
you
can. I can like, and I'm not. Since I'm high, I wouldn't even be offended or freaked out by that. I just laugh. Okay. Cool.
All right, here we go. Another rehearsal, please. Here we go.
Roll camera! Leg, feet, here. And action!
Great. Cut.
Cut it now. Tail.
Beautiful. One more like that.
Action! Go! Cut an hour. Cut.
Set.
And background.
Right chair, come on. Brian.
Right here.
Exactly.
So if the gate is clean, we'll go on to the next shot.
Okay.
You want me to give them a cue?
I just like somebody just to take it and then the other person follow.
Yeah,
If you end up taking it first, then you'll take it off.
Either way.
So it looks a little confused.
All right, let's try one more, Dave. Let's try one more. Let's try one more rehearsal, guys. Here we go. One more rehearsal. One more rehearsal.
I might be able to. You should always find yourself.
Yeah, like that.
Shadow a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Tall. Don't want you too far back.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
You know what?
Can we think it back there again? That's okay. Okay.
Shadow again.
Okay, now step out of the shadow.
Cameras actually.
Oh, I'm camera.
I believe it'll be around. Yeah. There you go.
Let's see, switch. You keep close to the bus in case you want to miss that one.
That?
Yeah, let me see. He's taller than me. Yeah, that works actually better.
Coach. Get it now. That's a cut. There you go.
See that little paint up there later.
Oh, we'll tuck that in before we go there, Mom.
Oh, yeah, what you got there? All right, Mark. Like the first one, and then I step in.
Everything going.
Everything's going fine.
One, it just gets a little crinkly. You don't put too much and then use a fresh one.
Say once again.
We are twins.
Thank you.
It's great.
I don't have any friends. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to have one less than me, so I just thought to do so many students go.
Hi. I'm Delilah. Happy to have you at Harrington.
Thank you.
I'd love to do a profile of you for the paper. Some sort of back page debut.
Sounds nice.
Great. Good. Drop by the office for a photo. Maybe you can get Stokely to help you decide what to wear. Don't you just love the way she accessorizes different shades of black in an ensemble?
So do you have much? 2 2/3. 2.5, maybe. 2.5. Okay. Just where you're sitting, just where you sit. Okay, and can I see you sit, please? Thank you very much.
All right, here we go. On a bell. Kill the AC. Here we go. And roll set up.
23 Uganda, take one.
Stay marking. Action.
Yeah, what are you doing? Well, the surface texture has changed, so I want to feel it.
That would be stupid.
No, I'm somewhat
Are you sure
retarded.
that's a good idea, Mr. Furlong?
Did I clean or did I sort of clean? Like it sort of came in there. Where? At the land?
Yes. And.
Roll sound.
31, practice, take one.
Bid it.
We can see the whole slate here. Mark it.
And background.
Background.
Action. Put the worm back. Pull it out again.
I was checking early, but I didn't know I was winning.
Okay, we got unscrew it. Why don't you just turn around and go back that way, and then you come this way.
Okay.
So we can just keep it. Okay. Yeah. So then you just same thing as before. Only you'll go that way, then you'll just walk this way.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
And roll sound.
Rolling.
$31, take two.
Bid it. Background.
Casey, if you're gonna be a school photographer, you got. Yeah, did you pull that out of your nose?
No, just found it.
You really shouldn't hang around the light bulbs.
Good. Cut it out.
Casey, if you're gonna be a school photographer, you got. Yeah, did you pull that out of your nose? You really shouldn't hang around the light bulbs, Casey. After all, you're only as good as who you associate with.
Y tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
Meet me after school with your camera. Give me a big opportunity here, front page stuff, so don't blow it.
Okay, don't worry.
That was Phil, sir.
If it zooms out, I'm not going to be looking. Let me see you good for looking.
Back to one, back to one.
One on D.
That's right.
All right, back to one, guys. Back to one. Very nice, guys.
Cover this with some Duvachin.
Yeah. You want to,
Yeah.
I'm going to just sweep the leaf.